Several years ago, we had a pastor that went sour on us. He was breaking bad, or breaking evil, because of his chronic and habitual lying. And I came to the conclusion that this guy was really evil. All these years we had attended church and listened to him, and then he got caught in a lie. And it spiraled downhill. And some people thought my use of the word evil was too harsh of a charge against him. I think this was so because people really don't understand what the word evil means biblically. The word evil is bandied about in such a pervasive secular fashion that it renders it much differently than the biblical term. Evil is not just simplistically being bad or a nondescript badness. The Bible helps us to identify evil with many examples. It's not the Hollywood version of a mad scientist concocting a doomsday machine. It's a little closer to home and everyday life. It has to do with sin, which is the transgression of God's law. And we all do it with a variety of motives. The difference between sin and evil is that sin is a verb and evil is an adjective. Why do we sin? Does it hurt us? Is there an immediate physical pain or an electrical shock? Maybe there should be. But no, there is pleasure in sin. Sin is pleasing to self. It feels good to indulge in something bad momentarily. But do we sacrifice or dedicate our lives to evil or to God? By evil, I mean self-imposed adversity. Satanists or Jews dedicate their lives to self-indulgence and the promotion of evil. Why do our enemies not want us to be good? Proverbs 4:16 tells us it's because they can't sleep until their mischief causes someone to fall. Our enemies take advantage of our deportment and courteous nature. The idea of Christians being nice in order to be Christian is hogwash and a misguided myth. For we see that the word nice means pleasing and agreeable. To be agreeable to ourselves first, so we can be indulging in nice things and be in sin. One doesn't have to have a malicious spirit or a violent temperament or obnoxious personality to sin. One can be very benevolent and peaceful and nice and pleasing and friendly to sin. If one is going to habitually and chronically sin, doesn't that sinner appear happy and satisfied with themselves because they emotionally feel good? Didn't rock music get rolling with the phrase, if it feels good, do it? When people call good evil and evil good, this logically becomes a reversal of God's. But don't fret. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. The enemy puts forth an erroneous judgment or punishment based on false accusation, bearing false witness. We survive whatever persecution the enemy can throw at us because we have the grace and mercy of a God who baptizes his people with a refiner's fire. What exactly is evil other than just the opposite of good, then? The first mention of evil in the Bible is in Genesis 2:9, where God made every tree that was pleasant or nice to look at and good for food, except for this one tree that was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And they were prohibited to indulge in it because it would bring death. The only power the adversary has is the power we give it, keeping in mind that all power is given unto Jesus Christ. Consequently, the divine delegation of power to man is not void of accountability. If we attribute good or evil to the wrong source, we become our own worst enemy. If truth will set us free, we must know what the truth is. We must prove all things and hold fast to the good. Likewise, and that's 1 Thessalonians 5:21, likewise in the following verse, verse 22, we must avoid all appearance of evil. The adversary is saying that you can be free to believe anything you want as long as you don't impose it on anyone. Well, excuse me, but the whole point of the Bible and Christianity is an imposition of divine revelation so that we don't live in perpetual adversity. The word evil from Strong's Concordance in the Hebrew is 7451, the Hebrew word ra, R-A, and comes from number 7489 and means to spoil, literally, by breaking in pieces. Rigor mortis is a molecular breakdown. Spoilage is death and decay. The unity of a church can rot from within because of a few bad apples. A person who spoils the unity of a fellowship is evil. Achan's wedge of gold is an example of sin in the camp that cost Israel 36 lives. Figuratively, in the Greek, number 7451 means to make or be good for nothing, physically, socially, or morally. Much like the parables of salt. In Matthew 5:13, ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of man. The spiritual application is adulterating the Word of God. That is to say, quote, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book.